Hi there. First of all, let me tell you one thing. I guess you already know that most of the B2B personas we're actually building are pretty useless. Let's be clear, right? So first of all is we're building it around the age, around the gender, or the tool stack or the software they're using. But none of these things I mentioned above will not actually help you to understand whether the person will buy the solution from you or not. So in this case, let me tell you that intelligent analysts actually have known this for 60 to 70 years already. And they don't profile the people by the demographics, they profile the people by their motivation. And today, what we're actually going to do, first of all, we are going to understand how the people like who you worked in a secret police or like CIA or KGB used to record the people in the past, what kind of frameworks they used, and how actually first of all, how this framework can be used by the people in the sales. And the final thing is how to understand whether is the person is trying to find a lever, how to press on you. So in this case, you can actually learn how you can defend yourself. An example on a discovery call, when you're having a call and the person just trying to find the lever, how to negotiate the price or how to negotiate your even experience you have right on your work. So this is actually going to be the useful case for this thing. So today we have got 3 chapters. So it will be the difference how marketers and analysts research a buyer. Then it's going to be for motivation that actually predicts behavior. Then it's going to be how to use this in your discovery call and your copy. Well, I provided real spy cases, but you can find more deeper information about them just using the Wikipedia example. All of these people I mentioned here has a really interesting biography, so it's just worth knowing about them. So let's begin with our investigation then. Two professions try to predict what person will do. Marketer and intelligent analysts. They go it completely different. And here's the things we do have an example. So on the left side, we have marketer's approach, right? So here's like a typical B2B persona, just an example. So marketing manager Mary, 55 years old, company size 50 to 200, uses HubSpot, reads industry blogs, cares about scaling and ROI. None of this is actually wrong, but it just doesn't predict anything about whether Mary will buy from you or not. An example, your solution, right? So two people with identical demographics, same role, same company size, same software, will make completely different decisions because the demographics describe what they are. So now look into analyst approach we have on the right side of the screen, right? So they don't ask questions about age or job title either. They ask different questions. What is this person trying to win at? Or what are they afraid of losing? What story do they tell about themselves? Or what would humiliate them publicly? What was their last big win? Are they trying to repeat it? And what was their last big loss and are they trying to avoid it? So those questions actually gets you the motivation of the person and the motivation itself predicts the behavior of the person, future steps. So demographics can do the same thing. And here's the takeaway. Demographics describe what someone is, motivation describe what someone wants. Only one of those predicts what they actually will do. So intelligent analysts have a framework for this. 4 letters, ISE, that transforms into money, ideology, compromise, and ego. So they all matter. One matters most of any given person. That's the lever you need to find. So let's start from the money itself. So let's say the buyer is under the pressure. Maybe they have a board bringing down their neck, or maybe they're running out of runway, or maybe they need just to justify the number to their CFO next quarter. So if the money is a dominant layer, you will hear it in the call. So what is the cost of not solving this? How do other team justify the budget? Like some kind of questions you can ask to them just to clarify the situation. Can you show me the typical ROI numbers? Something like this. So real case, word Googling. An example, Adric Ames. So like it's some kind of CA officer who passed information to the Soviets for the cash. And textbook, money case, fascinating story, look it up. In B2B, this buyer looks like a founder running out of runway, and talk with them about the cost, not about the vision. Their ego isn't paying the bills. So let's start with the next letter. So ideology, right? So maybe let me just unzoom it so it will be easier for you to see the full picture on the board, right? So let's talk about the ideology itself. So what is the ideology and what does it mean? So in terms of ideology, let's say this is like a story about the buyer who tells about themselves. They're kind of company that doing something. We don't operate like other companies, or we believe strongly in something maybe you surely don't believe. If ideology or ideology is a dominant layer, Buying decisions reinforce identity. So they will pay more to buy from someone who gets it. So I guess you understand this case. An example, if you just listen to the person and you just say to him, I clearly understand you. So in this case, person will see, okay, this is guy from our party, so probably we can hire him because he understood what my vision is, so I want to do it. So they will walk away from a cheaper option that doesn't share their values. In example, real case that we're googling is Kim Philby. So it's like a British intelligence officer who genuinely like believed in the Soviet case, and ideology beats money every time when it's the real lever, right? So in B2B, this buyer looks like mission-driven agency owner. Talk to them about values alignment and show them that you understand the world the way they do. Okay, so the next step is the compromise. So what is the compromise and what does it mean? So compromise is the fear. Let's say it's like a black path of our whole framework. Past failure or what they're trying to avoid, an example. This is most underused lever to B2B. And of course, it's like a layer about the like a human manipulation itself, right? So most marketers focus on upsides. Most buyers are actually motivated by avoiding downside. So if compromise is the dominant layer, you will hear it like this. We tried something similar before, it didn't work. So an example, talking about experience I have in the past. So like some of the leads coming to me and telling like, okay, why your solution is different from the others? Because we tried it and it didn't work. And you're just trying to listen to them to understand an example, what they tried and how did it work for them? How did they set it up and how what was the plan for all this thing? There is a lots of gaps. There's lots of misunderstanding. There's a lots of holes that should be closed even on the stage of the planning, not even on, creating of the system itself. So that's the thing. And in example, the real case, talking about the agents that we're Googling is the Robert Hansen. So VBI agents, complex motivations, including the grievance and fear. The fear of being unimportant run deeper than the money. So, for some people, an example, it's really important if they have a meaning to the society or to the other people. If they don't have any meanings, they believe strongly they don't exist at all. So in the B2B, this buyer looks like a burned exec on his second cycle. So talk to them about the risk reduction, not upside. Their last vendor made promises and it didn't deliver, right? So they want assurance, not ambition. So this is the thing about the compromise. Next is the ego, the final chapter of our framework. And what does ego mean? So let's explain it like career, status, looking good. This isn't the pride. It's what they want to be seen, right? So something like an expensive show out of them. Almost every B2B buyer has this lever active to some degree, because almost every B2B buyer answers to a boss or a board. So in example, if the ego is the dominant layer, I want to bring this to my CEO, or my team thinks I should explore this, or this is the kind of thing that gets noticed. Real case we're Googling an example, talking about the agents, right? So John Walker, if you know something about him. So he was like a naval officer who felt deeply unappreciated, sold codes for years before getting caught. Classic ego case. So in a B2B, this buyer looks like a mid-level operator trying to be promoted. Talk to them about the career win, not company outcome. So make them the hero of the case study, right? So, and here's the takeaway. Your job is to figure out which lever out of this that we mentioned is the dominant for this buyer. So like example, we have different buyers and there's like a different levers they have, right? So one matters the most. That's the lever your offer needs to pull these people from. Okay, and talking about the setup itself, so how to use it. So the practical part, right? So two places they changes how you operate. First of all, the first use case, discovery calls. So in the first 30 minutes of a discovery call, stop trying to qualify them on a budget and timeline. Start listening for which lever is active. So an example, they're talking a lot about how a lot of money they're spending. An example, they like spending a lot of the ad, but not getting the conversion from it. Or an example, they having lots of tools, like they're paying for lots of tools, but most of them they're not using. So there can be different case. So this is like an example will mean the money itself. Or an example, some of the leads that came to me, they explaining their situation, I have a vision, but nobody supports me. So I have this vision and I want to be seen. So I want to implement it. So start listening to the which layer is active. If they ask, what is the right? Lead with hard numbers and payback period. If they say, we are not like other companies, lead with share values and alignment, as I said, right? If they say an example, we tried this before, didn't work, lead with risk reduction and guarantees. An example, one of the guarantees I always give to my clients or to my leads who are coming. So an example, if you planted something and if I cannot make my part of the contract, I always guarantee money return thing. So the same product, same offer, different door for each lever. So, and the next case, the case number 2 is copy and outbound. So the same logic for your cold mail and your proposals. So an example for a money-led prospect, so your team is hiring 3 SDRs. The system I built cuts the volume those reps need to handle in a half. So here's like a pretty simple understanding, right? So we're talking about the time. For most businesses, there are like 2 important units, just the money and the time. So for an ideology-led prospect, so your blog post on doing things differently, the system I built is built on the same principle. So an example for a compromised lead prospect, so you ran a similar program last year, quick note on what's different about how I would approach it. Or for a legal-led prospect, so your promotion of VP of growth, the kind of system I built looks really good and worth delivery. So the same offer for different doors and pull the lever that actually moving down. One last thing. This isn't the manipulation. Manipulation is when you tell the people what they want to hear, even it's not true, even if you can't deliver it. This is the opposite. This is the figuring out what they actually need and speaking to that honestly. So an example you cannot give to the person if they coming with you with and how to capture the entire world, you cannot give them honest answer and tell them, of course I will do it. I will help you to do it, because you cannot do it. So you cannot guarantee them anything that you cannot do. Right? And better not to do it. So the bad marketing tries to trick the people. Good marketing tries to find the truth and addresses it. So here is the thesis of all these things that we mentioned today. Bad marketing assumes everyone wants the same thing, right? Or good marketing finds out what this person actually needs and speaks to that. Money, ideology, compromise, ego, 4 layers. And one matters most for every buyer. So your goal will be to find it. So that's the file. If you want to go deeper on the spy cases I mentioned, just look for names and example. Aldrich, Elmas, Gil, Philby, Robert, Hanson, I guess, and John Walker I mentioned today, right? So all real cases, all public, all worth your time. And if you got value from this, subscribe. Next file is on pricing psychology, and I'm going to cover, in example, why some buyers feel ripped off at one pace and grateful at a higher one. So see you.